Detach to protect your peace. Anything that costs your peace is too expensive. Here's the hook. When you detach, they chase harder. Yes, even if they're in someone else's arms. That sounds bold, my friends, but it's human psychology. Before we dive in, smash the like button and subscribe so you never miss the next piece of this series, because today we're breaking the lies that kept you stuck. Hey folks, imagine this. You're a lighthouse on a stormy coastline. For a while, they stood close, warmed by your light. Then they decided another harbor would be brighter. They sailed off. At first, the sea feels quiet. It hurts. You stare at your phone like it's a crystal ball. You replay memories. You think, if I explain myself, maybe they'll come back. But a lighthouse does not chase ships. It stands. It shines. It lets the storm tell the truth. And when the waves slap their new harbor and the fog gets thick, they remember where the real light was. Not because the lighthouse begged, but because it stayed strong and bright. Now, a quick smile moment. Yes, I know you've zoomed in on their story 5 times like you're a detective with a magnifying glass. Relax, Therlock. You don't need to solve who they're with, what they ate, or why they posted that sunset. You're not their weather app. You're the climate. Your energy sets the season. Let me give you another picture. You are a fire on a cold night. They left your fire thinking a sparkler could replace a campfire. Sparkler looks cute for 10 seconds. Then the cold returns. Your warmth is missed when it is no longer given freely. That's detachment. You don't put out your flame. You move the fire pit into your own yard and build a bigger blaze. Here's a hard truth, my friends. They didn't leave because you weren't enough. They left because they thought you wouldn't become more. That's the bet they placed. Your detachment is how you win that bet without saying a word. Silence is not weakness. It is strategy. It is the moment you stop auditioning for a role you already outgrew. Quote it if you want. Explaining rarely changes hearts. Absence recalibrates value. People don't chase what never leaves. They chase what suddenly stops feeding their ego. They chase mystery, not guarantees. That's why begging fails. It confirms their choice. Detachment confuses that choice. Confusion grows into curiosity. Curiosity becomes late-night scrolling. Then the questions start. Why is he quiet? Why does he look lighter? Who is he becoming without me? That's the power shift. And I know the first nights are heavy. You will want to text. You will want to prove your side. But hear me, you do not prove worth with paragraphs. You prove worth with peace. You prove growth with presence to your own life, your body, your goals, your money, your mission. Heal so hard they don't recognize you. Level up so clearly that even your past self wouldn't qualify for your present standards. Detach, not to punish, but to protect. That's Epictetus level discipline. It's not running. It's returning to yourself. It's you becoming the man who sets the frame, not chases the picture. Keep it simple. Sleep, train, read, build, laugh with real friends, drink water like it owes you rent. Yes, allow a joke or two. Even warriors smile. So here's the move. Hold your center. Be the lighthouse. Be the fire. Be the quiet sun that sets for no one and still returns every morning stronger. If they look back, and they will, it won't be because you shouted. It will be because your silence echoed. Say this with me and type it in the comments. I detach, I rise. Press like, hit subscribe, and stay with me. Because next, I'll show you exactly how to use calm distance to flip the power without playing games. Stay focused, stay steady, stay sovereign. Number 1, detachment is not loss, it's leverage. Sometimes letting go is the only way to show your true strength. That line hits hard because it flips the script. Most people think holding tighter proves love, when in reality it only proves fear. And fear, my friends, never builds attraction. It only feeds their ego. Picture this. You're standing with a rope in your hands, pulling with all your strength. On the other end, they're tugging too, but not because they want you closer. They're tugging to prove they can control the game. The tighter you hold, the more rope burns you collect. The pain feels like love, but it's not. It's a trap. Now imagine dropping that rope. Silence. No more burns. And suddenly, they feel the emptiness of pulling against nothing. That's detachment. That's leverage. But here's the fear that sneaks into your mind at night. If I stop reaching out, if I stop explaining, won't they forget me? Won't they move on forever? That fear is the loudest liar. Because what human beings truly chase is not what stays in their pocket, it's what slips through their fingers. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." The same applies here. You cannot control their decisions, their new arms, their late-night distractions, but you can control your silence. And silence, when used with discipline, is sharper than any weapon. Let's break the lie right now. They didn't leave because you weren't valuable. They left because they thought your value had peaked. That's a massive difference. They assumed you'd stay in the exact same emotional spot forever. They thought they could walk away, spin back later, and find you waiting. That's not love, that's arrogance. And detachment slices that arrogance in half. Think of it like a shop that's always open, the neon sign buzzing all night, doors unlocked, lights on. Anyone can walk in, browse, maybe take something, maybe leave, no pressure. Does that shop feel valuable? Not really. But when a store shuts its doors, closes early, and posts a sign that says, "Rare hours," limited availability, suddenly people line up outside. Scarcity creates value, and your detachment, folks, is the closed sign that makes them wonder if they've lost access forever. Of course, it won't feel natural at first. You'll sit there with your phone, fingers hovering over the keyboard, writing messages you'll never send. You'll scroll their photos, analyzing details like a detective solving a mystery. You'll ask yourself, are they laughing without me? Do they even remember me? Am I forgotten already? That fear whispers in your ear because silence feels like surrender. But here's the truth. Silence is not surrender, it's strategy. Imagine being a flame in the night. For months, you've given warmth, light, comfort, without question. Then suddenly, you vanish. Darkness creeps in. At first, they distract themselves with another light, another spark. But when that spark fizzles and the cold sets in, guess whose warmth they remember? Yours. And they don't just remember it, they crave it. Because now it's scarce, now it's missing, now it hurts. And listen, my friends, detachment doesn't mean bitterness. It doesn't mean slamming doors or shouting online. It means redirecting your fire inward. It means waking up earlier, training harder, building so much peace and power inside yourself that their absence no longer feels like loss. It feels like space. And that space is where you rebuild. The difficulty lies in breaking habits. You've been conditioned to chase, conditioned to explain, conditioned to think that vulnerability means access. But ask yourself, how has that worked so far? Has chasing made them respect you? Has over-explaining brought them back? Has bleeding your heart out convinced them of your worth? Or has it only confirmed their belief that they can walk away without consequences? The moment you stop feeding that cycle is the moment they start questioning their choice. And trust me, confusion is the seed of regret. Regret is what keeps them scrolling late at night, wondering why your silence feels louder than their new partner's voice. So rise out of fear. Detachment doesn't erase your story, it rewrites it. It doesn't erase your love, it reframes it. You're not disappearing to punish them, you're disappearing to protect you. You're not walking away because you're weak. You're walking away because you finally remembered your worth. Say this with me right now. I detach. I rise. Type it in the comments. Show me. Show yourself. Show the world around you that you are no longer the man waiting in the corner of someone else's story. You are the man writing his own. And stay with me, because what's coming next is going to hit even harder. We're going to dive into the illusion of replacement, and why no matter how loudly they laugh in someone else's arms, the echo of your absence will always speak louder. Stay solid, stay sovereign, stay evolving. Number 2, the illusion of replacement. They don't replace you, they distract themselves from you. That truth is bitter medicine, my friends. And yet, it's the cure to one of the loudest lies you've been told, that when they walk into someone else's arms, they've found better. No, they've found something different. They've found temporary help. They've found glitter when they already had gold. Imagine this. You're wearing a watch, solid gold, passed down through generations. It's heavy, it's rare, it's proven. One day, you see a shiny plastic watch in a shop window. It sparkles under the lights. It looks new. It feels exciting. You trade your gold for plastic, thinking the sparkle will last forever. But give it a month, the strap breaks, the shine fades, and you realize you traded something timeless for something disposable. That's the illusion of replacement. When they leave, your first instinct is fear. What if they're happier now? What if they've forgotten me completely? What if I was the problem all along? That fear eats at your chest, makes you overthink, makes you believe their new smile erases the history you shared. But pause right here and let me break that lie. They didn't replace you. They distracted themselves from the weight of losing you. Big difference. The human heart doesn't delete. It defers. It hides. It postpones, and what looks like happiness from the outside often masks emptiness on the inside. You see the photos, the trips, the laughs, the captions screaming new chapter. But what you don't see are the quiet nights, the silent comparisons, the moments when your name slips into their thoughts like a ghost they can't shake. Because comparison is human nature, and no matter how hard they try, they will compare. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Everything we hear is an opinion, not a fact. Everything we see is a perspective, not the truth." Apply that here. What you see online, what they show the world, isn't the truth. It's their performance, it's their way of proving, first to themselves, then to others, that they're okay. But if they were truly okay, would they need to prove it so loudly? My friends, people often leave thinking they've outgrown you. They think your chapter is finished, your story complete. They gamble on the belief that you'll stay the same while they move ahead. And maybe at that moment, they're right. Maybe you were stagnant, stuck, pouring too much into them and not enough into yourself. But the illusion shatters the moment you detach and start growing. Because now they're comparing who you were with who you are becoming, and their so-called replacement doesn't measure up. Let's be real, replacements are easy. Evolution is rare. Anyone can walk into a bar and find a new body to lean on. Anyone can swap arms when the nights feel cold, but not everyone can find the stability, the depth, the fire you carried. That's why detachment works. It doesn't just remove you from their daily life, it forces them to face the hollow truth. They tried to swap out rare for common, permanent for temporary. Here's where it gets tough. You'll want to believe their act. You'll want to convince yourself that their laughter means they've won, that their new love story erases your own. But what if you flipped that thought? What if their laughter is just a cover? What if their replacement is only fuel to distract from the silence you've created? What if you, by walking away, became the standard they can't replicate? Think about this. When a man loses his favorite song, he can play new tracks all day. But at night, when the room is quiet, the melody he loved creeps back in. That's how memory works. That's how attachment works. It's not replaced, it's recalled. And the more you evolve in silence, the harder it becomes for them to deny the weight of what they lost. Here's another lie to break. They didn't leave because someone else was better. They left because they thought they deserved easier. They thought effort wouldn't be required elsewhere. But the truth always returns. Real connection, real fire, real depth cannot be faked, cannot be replaced, cannot be forced. They'll find that out the hard way. So rise above the illusion. Don't stalk their feeds. Don't measure your worth against their new fling. Your value doesn't shrink because they chased distraction. Your value multiplies the moment you stop performing for their attention. Repeat this with me. I am not replaceable. Write it in the comments, my friends. Show them, show yourself, show the world that you refuse to be measured against a placeholder. You are the original, not the copy. The rare, not the common. The standard, not the stand-in. And stay with me, because in the next part we're going to dig into why chasing only kills attraction, and how standing still in your power makes them chase you harder than any words ever could. Stay calm, stay patient, stay sovereign. Number 3, why chasing kills attraction. Stop chasing people. The right ones will choose you, the wrong ones will use you. That line should be written on every man's mirror. Because here's the hard truth, my friends. Chasing doesn't prove your love. It proves your fear. And fear never pulls someone closer. It only drives them further away. Picture this. You're standing on a beach, waves rushing in. Try to grab the water with your hands. The harder you clutch, the faster it slips through your fingers. That's what chasing is. You think you're holding them tighter, but in reality, you're pushing them away. Because what's abundant is ignored, and what's scarce is pursued. Now I know what's running through your head at night. If I don't show them I care, they'll forget me. If I don't remind them of our love, they'll move on. If I stay silent, I'll lose them forever. That's fear talking. And fear has a loud voice. But let's break that lie right now. People don't forget love. They don't forget their presence. They don't forget someone who once gave them fire when the world felt cold. What they forget is someone who becomes too predictable, too available, too desperate. Chasing doesn't say, I value you. It screams, I don't value myself without you. And that's the quickest way to kill attraction. Seneca once wrote, he who is brave is free. Apply it here. The bravery to stop chasing, to stop explaining, to stop trying to be chosen, that's what creates freedom. And freedom is what creates value. Because no one values what begs to be held. They value what stands strong enough to walk away. Let me give you a metaphor. Imagine a man standing with roses in his hand, running after someone who's walking away. He trips, he stumbles, the petals scatter. The roses that were once beautiful now look crushed, desperate, unwanted. That's chasing. It takes your best qualities, your kindness, your devotion, your love, and twists them into weakness. Not because love is weakness, but because giving it to someone who's walking away is. Chasing also confirms their ego. It whispers in their ear, I was right to leave. Look how badly they want me back. Look how much control I still have. And the moment they feel that control, attraction dies. Why? Because attraction thrives on mystery, not certainty, on challenge, not comfort, on the feeling that something rare might slip away, not that it will always wait. Think of it like a marketplace. If a vendor is shouting, begging people to take his goods for free, do those goods feel valuable? No. But if there's a line outside the shop, if the shelves are stocked with rare items you can't find anywhere else, suddenly everyone wants in. My friends, you are the shop, and chasing makes you look like the vendor desperate to sell. Detachment makes you look like the rare store people line up for. Now, I won't sugarcoat it. Stopping the chase will feel like losing at first. You'll sit in silence, your hands itching to text, your mind racing with what-ifs. What if they never look back? What if they never regret it? What if they replace me completely? Those fears will roar inside you. But here's the secret. Those fears are already there whether you chase or not. The only difference is chasing gives them proof while silence makes them wonder. And wondering where the shift happens. Wondering keeps them up at night. Wondering makes them scroll. Wondering plants doubt their new connection. Chasing kills mystery. Detachment fuels it. So rise from the fear. Stop running after people who walked away. Stop giving your energy to those who already made their choice. You're not here to be an option. You're here to be the standard. And standards don't chase, they attract. Say this with me right now. I don't chase, I attract. Type it in the comments. Show me. Show yourself. Show the world around you that you're done handing out your worth like it costs nothing. That you're done proving yourself to people who couldn't see your value. That you're done tripping over roses for someone who never stopped to appreciate them. And stay with me, because in the next part, we're going to talk about the silent scarcity effect, how your emotional absence creates a presence louder than any words you could ever say. That, my friends, is where the real power begins. Stay rare, stay strong, stay sovereign. Number 4, the silent scarcity effect. Absence sharpens love. Presence strengthens it. But here's the twist, my friends. When someone takes your presence for granted, absence becomes the only teacher. And silence, when used with discipline, is the loudest voice they'll ever hear. Think about it like this. The sun rises every day. It shines, it warms, it gives life. People stop noticing it because it's always there. They wake, they move, they live as if the sun owes them its light. But imagine one morning the sun doesn't show. The sky grows cold. The earth begins to shiver. Suddenly, everyone remembers the power of what they ignored. That's the silent scarcity effect. When you were always available, your value blended into the background. When you go quiet, your absence becomes undeniable. Here's the lie you've been sold. Love is proven by constant presence. That if you care, you should always show up. That if you truly want them, you must remind them daily. That lie is poison. It breeds codependency. It convinces you to keep handing out your energy like it costs nothing. But the truth is simple. What is always accessible is rarely valued. What disappears becomes priceless. My friends, let me ask you, why do people line up for hours outside a store on the day a new product drops? Is it because they truly need it, or because it's scarce? Human psychology craves what it fears losing. It desires what suddenly feels out of reach. And when you step back, when you stop pouring into someone who thought they had endless access, you trigger the law of scarcity. You become the thing they can no longer casually claim. But I know the battle inside your chest. The silence feels heavy. You'll ask yourself, if I don't message, will they forget me? If I don't show up, will they find comfort elsewhere? If I detach, will they believe I never cared? That fear gnaws at you. But let me tell you, your silence doesn't erase you. It amplifies you. It takes what they once dismissed and makes it echo in the quiet moments they didn't expect. Picture this. You used to text them every morning. Good morning, hope you slept well. That little spark of warmth became routine. They didn't even smile when they saw it anymore. It was expected. But then one day, nothing. No text, no check-in. No validation. At first, they brush it off. Maybe he's busy. Then hours pass. Doubt creeps in. The silence grows louder than any words. That's scarcity at work. Your absence is teaching them what your presence couldn't. Marcus Aurelius said, "The more we value things outside our control, the less control we have." You can't control whether they miss you. You can't control whether they regret walking away, but you can control your energy. And when you stop giving it away, when you let your silence create space, you shift the balance of power, because they expected you to beg, to explain, to prove. Silence denies them all of that. Silence makes them wonder. And here's the beauty: scarcity doesn't require anger. You don't need to post cryptic quotes. You don't need to throw shade. You don't need to fake a glow-up for attention. Real scarcity is quiet. It's you living, healing, building without an announcement. It's you becoming so disciplined that your energy no longer leaks into places it isn't respected. And that silence, that absence, that refusal to be accessible, that's what makes them chase. But let's be real, it's not easy. The first night, you'll want to break it. You'll hover over their profile. You'll write messages you don't send. You'll think, just one call, just one post, just one sign to remind them. But every time you break the silence, you feed their ego. You remind them they still have you. And the moment they know they still have you, the scarcity dies. So stay disciplined, stay quiet, stay scarce. Because the truth is, people don't chase what they think they own. They chase what they realize they've lost. And your silence is the invoice for taking you for granted. It's the cost they never thought they'd pay. Say this with me right now: my silence is my power. Type it in the comments. Show them, show yourself, show the world around you that you are no longer afraid to step back, that you're no longer handing out your worth like it's cheap, that you understand the law of scarcity, that you are rare and rare things don't beg. And stay with me, folks, because in the next part we're diving into something even deeper, healing so hard it makes you unreachable. Because silence makes them curious, but healing makes them realize they'll never get the old version of you back again. That's when regret hits the hardest. Stay steady, stay scarce, stay sovereign. Number 5, healing until you become unreachable. He who conquers himself is the mightiest warrior. Those words from Confucius hit different when you've been broken. Because here's the truth, my friends. It's not their leaving that destroys you. It's the wounds you refuse to heal. And healing isn't just recovery. Healing is your transformation. It's how you become the version of yourself they can no longer access, no longer control, no longer replace. Healing done right doesn't just close the wound. It builds armor around the scar. Imagine this. You're in a dark workshop, broken glass all around your feet. Those shards are the pieces of you left behind after they walked away. At first, you're tempted to pick them up with bare hands, to glue the old picture back together, to return to who you were before the heartbreak. But that version is gone. And every time you cut yourself trying to rebuild the old, you bleed more. Real healing is different. Real healing is looking at those shattered pieces and saying, I'm not rebuilding the same thing. I'm forging something new. You melt the glass. You mold it. You create something stronger, something sharper, something they can't touch anymore. That's healing until you're unreachable. But let's be honest. Most people fake healing. They post selfies at the gym hoping their ex sees it. They upload quotes about strength, secretly praying it'll sting. They laugh louder at parties, pretending the echo covers their silence. But that's not healing, that's performing, and performing keeps you tied to their attention. Real healing? Real healing doesn't care if they notice. Real healing is done in the quiet, in the late nights when no one's watching, in the mornings when you'd rather stay in bed but force yourself to rise. Think about this. Why do people fear silence? Because in silence, the noise of their pain is too loud to ignore. That's why most run from healing. They distract themselves with rebounds, with noise, with scrolling. But not you. You, my friends, you sit with it. You dissect it. You ask, why did I allow this? What did it trigger in me? What weakness did it expose? Because healing isn't about them. It's about you becoming someone who never falls into the same trap again. Now here's the paradox. The harder you heal, the more they feel it. Not because you're trying to prove something, but because the contrast cuts deep. They left expecting you to stay broken, to stay available, to stay small. But when your silence is matched with discipline, when your body gets stronger, your energy lighter, your presence sharper, they look back and see someone they don't recognize, and nothing haunts them more than realizing the version of you they left no longer exists. Imagine this scenario. Months go by, they're lying in someone else's arms. It feels safe, it feels new, until one day your name comes up. A photo slides across their feed. A friend mentions you in passing, and suddenly they pause, they look, they stare, and the thought hits. That's not the man I left. That's someone else. Did I walk away right before he became everything I wanted? That's the punishment of healing. It creates curiosity, it plants regret, it makes them realize their replacement was just a distraction. But let's break the biggest lie here. Healing is not about getting them back. Healing is about never needing them again. If you heal just to make them chase, you're still chained to their validation. That's not power. That's dependency with a mask. The true power comes when you no longer care if they're watching. When you look in the mirror and realize you've become too far ahead, too strong, too free for them to even qualify for your presence again. And yes, healing will hurt. It'll feel like burning down a house you once called home. It'll feel like losing parts of yourself you thought you needed. But that's the point. You're not supposed to go back. You're supposed to grow out. You're supposed to become unreachable, not because you're hiding, but because you've elevated yourself. So let me ask you, my friends, what are you really holding on to? The ghost of who they were? The echo of a love that ended? Or the illusion that you can't live without them? Let it go. Build a door so strong it opens only to those who deserve to walk through. Stop leaving cracks for ghosts. Say this with me right now. I heal for me. Type it in the comments. Show yourself. Show the world that your transformation is not a performance. It's a declaration. That you are no longer waiting for someone to validate your worth. That you are building a self so powerful, even the memory of who you once were bows to the man you're becoming. And stay with me, because in the next part, we're going to talk about the mirror effect. How your evolution forces them to compare their replacement with the version of you they never expected. That's when regret doesn't just whisper, it screams, stay healing, stay rising, stay untouchable. Number 6, the mirror of comparison. Comparison is the thief of joy. Theodore Roosevelt said that, but here's the twist, my friends, comparison is also the thief of their peace. And when you detach, when you heal, when you rise, they can't help but hold up the mirror. Not the mirror in their bathroom, not the mirror on their wall, but the mirror of memory. And in that mirror, they see two versions, the man they left behind and the man you've become without them. And that comparison will haunt them more than any words you could ever send. Imagine this. They're lying in bed, scrolling through their phone, someone new by their side. On the surface it looks fine, smiles, conversations, routine, but the spark feels off. The laughter doesn't hit the same. The warmth is there, but it doesn't burn. And suddenly, like a ghost in the room, your image flashes in their mind. Not because you texted, not because you begged, not because you posted something for their attention. No, because the human brain can't help but compare the present to the past. And when the past has evolved into something greater, that comparison stings like salt in an open wound. Here's the thing. They expected you to stay the same. They thought the version of you they left would always be there, waiting, hoping, shrinking. That's why they felt bold enough to walk away. But now they look back and see someone different, someone sharper, someone disciplined, someone who doesn't look like the man they thought they could outgrow. And that's when pride starts to wrestle with curiosity. They tell themselves, I don't care. I've moved on. I'm happy. But curiosity doesn't obey pride. Curiosity sneaks in at 2 a.m. Curiosity whispers when they see your name. Curiosity puts them in front of the mirror, whether they like it or not. Let's break the lie right here. They didn't think you were worthless. They thought your worth was fixed. They thought you'd never become more. And when they see you leveling up, when they see the energy you carry now, they start to realize their bet was wrong. They thought you were replaceable, but you became the standard. Picture this. They're at dinner with their upgrade. The conversation feels forced. The jokes fall flat. The spark fades quick. And in that moment, the mirror comes out. They remember your sarcasm, the way you made them laugh without trying, the calm you brought when chaos hit. They look at the person across from them and realize, this isn't the same. This isn't him. That's the mirror effect. They don't admit it out loud, but inside, the comparisons are relentless. Marcus Aurelius said, the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts, and their thoughts, they're filled with comparisons they didn't plan to have. That's the punishment of detachment. That's the consequence of silence. Because while they're busy pretending, you're busy becoming. And nothing shakes someone more than seeing the proof that you're no longer the man they could control. But here's the beauty. You don't have to try. You don't need to post flexes. You don't need to brag. You don't need to force the glow up. Real growth doesn't advertise. It just exists. It's the way you carry yourself into a room. It's the calm in your eyes. It's the discipline in your routine. And when they see it, even from a distance, the mirror gets sharper, the reflection cuts deeper. And don't get it twisted. It won't be easy for them to admit. Pride will scream, don't look back. Ego will say, you're fine without him. But the comparison is louder. And once it begins, it doesn't stop. That's why the mirror is so powerful. It forces them to measure their new reality against the rare energy they thought they could replace. So, here's your move. Don't chase, don't prove, don't try to show them. Just keep becoming. Keep building, keep outgrowing the old version of you. Because the more you evolve, the more the mirror hurts them. And that pain? That's the birthplace of regret. Say this with me right now. I outgrow the old me. Type it in the comments. Show me. Show yourself. Show the world that you are not chasing comparison. You are causing it. That you are not waiting to be chosen. You are becoming the standard. That you are not proving your value. You are living it. And stay with me, my friends, because in the next part we're flipping the final card when they come back, uncertain, nervous, hoping the door is still open. And that moment, that's when the power isn't in their return. The power is in your choice. Stay evolving, stay undeniable, stay sovereign. Number 7. When they come back, you decide. Power is not in being wanted. Power is in deciding who is allowed back in. Read that again, my friends, because this is where the story flips completely. When you detach, when you heal, when you outgrow, something happens that almost feels scripted. They circle back. Maybe it's a message out of nowhere. Maybe it's a casual check-in. Maybe it's an "I was just thinking of you" dropped at midnight. And at first, your heart skips. You think, finally they realized. Finally, they're back. But let me open your eyes right now. The real victory is not that they come back. The real victory is that you no longer need them to. Imagine this. A door they once walked out of, slamming it behind them, convinced they'd never need to step through it again. Months pass. Seasons change. They peek back, expecting that door to still be cracked open, expecting you to still be standing there with open arms, waiting like before. But instead, they find something different. The house has been rebuilt. the locks have been changed. And you're no longer standing at the door. You're sitting on a throne in a room they don't even have the keys to anymore. That's detachment. That's evolution. That's the shift that makes their return irrelevant, because now you decide. Here's the lie you need to destroy. If they come back, it means they still love me. No. If they come back, it means your silence got louder than their pride. It means your growth pressed on their ego harder than their distractions could cover. But love, that's not guaranteed. What's guaranteed is the power shift. The person who once discarded you now seeks permission to re-enter. And whether they get in or not, that's up to you. But let's be real about why this is so hard. Deep down, you still remember the version of you that begged, the version that stayed up at night overthinking, the version that felt empty without them. And when they come back, that version of you whispers, "This is it. Take them back. Don't waste the chance." That's not love speaking, that's fear. And fear will chain you to the same cycle you worked so hard to escape. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. When they return, they are the outside event. Their words, their apologies, their sudden interest, that's noise. The strength is choosing whether their presence aligns with the man you've become. Because here's the truth, my friends, they are not coming back to the old you. That version is gone. They are coming back to the new you. The healed, focused, elevated man they didn't expect to exist. And now you decide if they qualify. Think of it like a test. You studied through heartbreak. You trained through silence. You built through absence. And now the exam shows up in the form of a message. The question isn't, do they want me? The question is, do they deserve me? And if the answer is no, then your silence continues. If the answer is yes, it's not because you're weak. It's because they've proven change. But here's the power. The choice is yours. And don't underestimate how much that scares them. They left with the upper hand. They left thinking you'd never rise. They left assuming you'd always be available. But when they return to find someone calm, detached, sovereign, that shakes them more than any rejection ever could, they realize they're no longer in control. You are. So here's where we land. They will come back, almost always. But when they do, the power isn't in their return. The power is in your decision. And if you've healed right, if you've leveled up in silence, you may look at them and realize you don't even want them anymore. That's when you know you've won. Not because they begged, but because you no longer need their presence to validate your worth. Say this with me right now. I decide who stays. Type it in the comments. Show me. Show yourself. Show the world that you're no longer a man waiting for permission to be loved. You are the man who chooses. You are the storm they didn't see coming. You are the peace they can't replicate. And if this message lit a fire in your chest, if you felt the shift, if you're ready to stop chasing and start choosing, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this with someone who needs to hear it. Because what's coming next isn't just about making them regret leaving, it's about you stepping fully into your own power. Stay calm, stay sovereign, stay unstoppable.